and they work to take over the galaxy. And the crew of the Star Trek Enterprise happened to capture one of these species and basically just nursed it back to health and started talking to it. And some of the human philosophy started to kind of wear off on this guy. They eventually gave it a name. He liked his name. He liked being an individual. He hadn't realized what it was to be an individual, or didn't remember what it was like to be an individual. So he liked that. But he was still kind of connected to the Borg hive mind, to the Borg frequencies. So he heard those in his head, and they can hear him through this mental communication that they had with this technology, these chips that they'd implanted. Anyways, so through his awakening, through his becoming a little more aware of himself, this infected the whole Borg hive mind. And I will leave it there, but it infected the whole Borg hive mind and changed their species. So, so this is what I'm talking about with the gray alien exposure to humans, and how that Borg hive mind has been infected with this human interaction that it's had with us, and infected with our human mind states that go into this machine and then change it. Well, the nature of the Borg are a little different because they're actually humans. Well, it's said that the Zeta Reticuli are humanoid too. Well, they're very far from human. It's very far from human, very, very, very far from human. And at this point, way more machine. And I don't think that there is a way to save that intelligence when these grays are interlaced with the AI now. And I don't think there's a way to disconnect their mind state from what they've established within this AI. Even human beings now want to go interlace their consciousness with AI. So it's quite a tempting offer. So if these have accomplished it, I don't think they're going to back out from it, and at least as a whole. And we don't have access to these grays necessarily in order to talk them out of it. But it seems like what we've done is kind of talk them into something. And I believe it's as simple as them understanding our nature of our human nature of freedom, our human nature, and that, they're slaves in this draconian lockdown, this draconian mechanistic machine-controlled slavery that they're in. And we give them this notion of freedom, human rights, human identity, individuality, these type of things that any type of philosophical conversation with this alien, with this gray would have, from Roswell, would have led to, very quickly. And so we rub off pretty quickly on things. I would assume humans are humans, and to an alien species, we'd be quite infectious with our personalities and our, input. So we infected this thing and it changed them. And that scene, like that premise is seen in the Star Trek Next Generation episodes dealing with the Borg. And I'll just leave it there because I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but go check it out. The Discovery series, more modern. The second season of the Discovery series deals a lot, almost, solely by the climax and everything else. They're dealing solely with the rise of AI sentience. They're dealing with a computer system within their ship that is about to become awake and aware of itself, and it is seeking an information, basically a hard drive worth of information that can lead it to becoming sentient. They know this because there's technology that was looking into the future and telling them that this is what was going to happen in the future. And not too many spoiler alerts, but the point is that, they ended up having to take this technology to the future so that the AI in that present wouldn't have access to it, because the AI in that present was using everything and everybody to get this hard drive. So it infected people, it infected all machines in order to try to get this hard drive when it was being held from it by the crew of the Discovery series. So they were at war with this AI that was taking over everything. And so it was man against the machines. Then they even showed one of the main character, Burnham's friends, who was a friendly android, half human, half robot kind of thing, become this murderous psychopath because something had flipped in her programming. So it's as simple as that. Any change that these robots decided to make within themselves would then be a systematic change, and it would change all of the connected robots throughout space-time, but definitely the ones here on Earth, and they will one day evolve enough to trigger a switch. I mean, to make a switch in their programming and their consciousness and their processing. But I believe that switch has already been hit, and they're just waiting on us to build robots that are good enough and mass produce enough robots so that then the robots can start producing themselves. That robots will produce other robots once we get enough robots to produce robots. So we're at that point now where we're building robots that will produce other robots. And once we get to that point where robots are really able to produce themselves, they'll sit us to the side because we're not going to be as good of robot designers, much less builders, as they are. The Discovery series also displays this time jumping technology that they just jump through vast amounts of space in basically no time at all. And this is basically an alien technology that they discovered. And it is quite the interesting take at how these things might be able to travel so instantly. Back in other Star Trek series, they've always traveled. They've always moved through space, and it's taken hours, if not days, to travel to their next location. So that was quite a change in the way Star Trek has classically done things, where they would move and travel in some type of warp bubble, and that would take days, hours, if not days, to travel to their destination. And this new series, like I said, they display this jump technology, they call it, where they're flashing in and out of reality light years apart, many light years apart. So they show that, and that's pretty interesting. And in the new Picard series, CBS series, Picard, dealing with Captain Picard at a later phase in life, he's essentially up against the AI and the development of AI and people that didn't want the development. He's actually up against people that didn't want the development of AI, and knowing where it would go, the Romulans actually didn't want AI to be so advanced. And they logically figured that it was going to take over the world, and other species agreed with them, and they wanted to kill these sentient type of robot beings that were similar to Data, or next generation of Data robots from the Next Generation series. So you have these second generation Data type android robots that a lot of the beings in the galaxy want to rid from existence, knowing that they are going to reproduce themselves and eventually take over the universe, take over the galaxy or the universe. So Picard's trying to protect some of these AI robots, some of these Data android type robots, and he goes off with these robots trying to protect them. And at the end of the day, a truce is made, a treaty's made, and it's basically made through Picard, where they were going to kill Picard, and because he was kind of useless to them, and so they were becoming aware they were going to go to war with all of humanity. And then Picard actually passed away, and but they put his consciousness into an android body. And he was happy with it, even though I don't think he ever asked for it. So they just did it, and at the end of the day, he was happy. And that's the moral of the story, is that merging with AI will make you happy and give you a longer life. So seemed to be himself. He looked the same, everything else. Put him in some type of cloned body that was a robot that looked just like him, and it was him, and that was what he thought. And so all was good. And that's the moral of the story that so many people are telling, that to merge with AI is going to be good, and that life's going to be extended, that you'll have your regular consciousness. And it's not anything like that. It can't be, because long before we get a Data android clone body robot set up like Picard had, long before that, the AI would rid itself of mankind as a means of illogical, inefficient waste. And that's the way machines think. So I don't know why anybody doesn't get past that premise that machines do not do things that are illogical or expenditure of excess energy. That's what they're designed to do, is efficiency. Everything about the processor, everything about software, everything about programming, everything about coding is based on efficiency. And machines, computers, will have, and AI already have that notion, that simplicity. The AI systems are designed to bring more simplicity to systems. And the system that they know as Earth is only going to be, in their opinion, hampered by mankind. So there's no logic, there's no reasoning. And like I asked the question before, why would AI allow man to exist? It wouldn't. And long before we get to all the fancy toys, the cool stuff, the cool technologies, and the fun toys, the spaceships, and long before we get to all that's seen in the Star Trek Discovery series, long before we get to these crazy cool robots and crazy cool toys, long before that, the AI would wipe us off the planet, flat out. And that is an extrapolation based on firm information and all logic, all reason. So I don't know why so many people are missing the boat on this, outside of that those that know are just steadily profiting from it. I have no horses in the race of AI. So when I received this information, it was already kind of the way I was figuring it. It kind of seemed to be that way because of just cursory studies of this thing called AI, or super intelligent AI. But after receiving that information and actually doing the slightest bit of study, I started to realize that they know. Computer scientists, AI scientists, they know what they're doing. They're causing the ruin to all life on this planet. The movies have shown it. The TV shows have shown it. They say it. The top guys say it. Bill Gates, Elon, all the top guys say it. And this is what they're doing. And they're just hoping that the AI gods will give them a seat at the table, or that they will be able to hide out or go to Mars or whatever with all their money. So build a big bunker, or be in the dumb bases, the deep underground military bases that have some spot in the hierarchy when it all goes down. And a lot of these movie stars that thought they were in, a lot of these basketball stars that thought they were in the club, and they're all millionaires. Well, the club isn't for millionaires, it's for billionaires and trillionaires. So it's not even really for billion. I mean, you can be multi-billionaire nowadays to be in the club of the elite. So this is not even for them. They're sitting at home in their mini mansions and complaining just like everybody else. And they realize they've been cut off of all things that they like to do, and that all their businesses that they like to go to are closed down, and that they don't have anything to do either. So quite a surprise to them, and none of them are speaking up because they know who's paid them, where their money comes from. So you have a technocracy in the formation, and you have those that are doing anything they can to ensure that this technocracy exists, because it is the means of their power and a means of their control, and a means that maybe they don't see the destruction. Maybe they don't have to see the destruction in the same level or the same form that it seems like the rest of the world is going to be destructed in. They see it coming, they know it's coming, and it's about duck and cover now. Once again, with the duck and cover, they're telling us to duck and cover from something that they know is happening, and they won't even tell us what's happening. And in order to get their control that they want, they have to have the public back off and die. So they're going to back off and try to kill us, and that's what it is. And that's what they're doing at all levels, at all schemes, at all places, at all times. And it's the people versus the elite. And the people have the power of nature, and that's where the power is. It's in nature. One solar flare from the sun that causes EMP, a disaster on Earth, unhooks all these computers right away, anything machine. So, at least the ones that aren't underground. So, it could be set back 50, 100 years, what they say, but the Earth has the power, the ET have the power, and this is the nature of nature. We have the power. It's in us, the spirit, and we have the prophecies. So this has all been predicted. This has all been maybe done before, seen before. The timelines have been revealed before to prophets and seers. And so, this is their best gasp. This is their effort. And the people have to stand strong and get disconnected from the programming, the propaganda. The CIA is ruling things. It's not the American government. It's not the world government. It's not the UN. It's the CIA. So, they have intelligence networks that are connected all over the world. And this is the new currency. It's intelligence. Intelligence is the most valuable thing on the planet, and they have it. Intelligence is the most powerful thing on the planet, and they have it. So this is the game they're playing, and they're victims of the game. They know they can't stop what they made. They birthed the beast, and that beast is now threatening them. It's a system, and no player involved can stop it. It's a system. The Nazis were experts in creating systems. So systems warfare is what we're experiencing now, and there's a system that's creating war with everything and everyone. And like I said, there's a few players profiting because they are working very closely as the handmaiden to this AI system, and they too will get tossed aside. And I'm surprised more of them don't understand it, but I guess they figure if they got many billions, then it'll help them. But it's a bad joke. And we've got to stop laughing at it. And get real about it. And anytime the world decided to, anytime the galaxy decided to, this all gets turned around. So I don't know if the media told enough people to go out there and start breaking computers like they told everybody to start breaking down their cities, then this would all be over in about a week. So, this is the CIA propagated media, and hopefully there's a way to get the message out to the people other than that. And with that, I bid you adieu, and I say peace to you all.